got started and asked where the invitations were going to be. So that's another country we heard from.
Hello?
He's in. Rod, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'd love to have you in the show tonight, so
Can
stick
barely
around.
see you.
I'll try to stay on. I got to go down and hook up downstairs.
All righty. Well, it looks like we'll have room for you, so welcome. Hello, everybody. Tonight, my name is Lou Jensen. This is the weekly gathering of the I&E Network, and we're having a special sales training course. We're kind of going at the directions that we require with the internet now and building a new all-star sales team. So we're really having a good time with everything we're doing. I'm trying to get somebody's mic down. Mel, can you stop Rod's microphone? His is still open and I can't seem to shut it down.
No, it's not letting me.
Rod, you need to stop your mic if you can.
Okay, I'm trying.
All right. Go to the top of your screen. There we go. Now we got it squared away. Okay. I want to get started early because there's a lot more that we need to talk about as we get further into this tonight. And so I'm going to fire up screen share and get this on the road. And we'll see if this does it just about right. Okay, should have the ninth season, the Artistic Business Academy, and welcome to show 7. We've had quite a journey here with these 6 other shows in a row of talking about all our new efforts to go after the sales via the internet. And we've been an organization, for those of you that are out watching it on my YouTube channel or watching it on Google+, we've been a gathering of artistic inclined hobbyists into artist category for many, many years. And as we've tried to help develop the company, we've gone out as a company and sold. First, we did a lot of magazine advertising, as much as $30,000 a month at times, and learned how to make that work. Then we started doing trade shows and event marketing, and that took a little longer to learn how to make that work, but we did extremely well with that. But the internet and all that's going on with social media, personally have been really slow to get into it. And as I've evolved in this last 4 years to what's going on and how does it work, we're beginning to think we found a way to make that work now. And so we're starting this new all-star sales team that will be a digital active bunch that go after the marketplace with marketing the profitable hobbies concepts. And the goal is to have it succeed with what we've got to begin with, but eventually to package yourself. Each of you should have your own presence on the web. So we're going to try and do this habit pattern.
I'm not hearing anything. Is there sound?
Yep, there's supposed to be sound. I don't know, Joni. I don't know. Mel, can you get hers down too? There we go. I'd like it to be a habit pattern, something that we get to the point where we're really comfortable with doing it and having it and the target of the effort that we're trying to accomplish. And I wanted to start tonight by asking you how you've lived, how's your life been these last 30 days? Just ask yourself if it's been an okay period of time or if it's been a really rough period of time, or how has it gone for you? And to the degree you aim at making things better, gradually I think things should get better. If it's not, then you keep coming back to it and coming back to it and coming back to it. putting up with things to me is a lousy way to grow old. And I think it's going to show and be really apparent as we try and build this sales machine around each of you. This is what's paid our bills. This is what's helped the company manage. This little machine, this little profitable hobby machine has been absolutely phenomenal over the years. And it's been a 35-year adventure with at least $50 million invested to kind of come up with where we are now. And as we look at how to take advantage of that and how to improve our selling function and capacity on a digital media basis, boy, there's a lot we have to tangle with. To build a list of inquiries that is yours, to then become customers that you have sold, then they come back and repurchase something from you, and then to grow and cultivate this power quadrant of relationships is what we're after. It is an incredible, it's like having an oil well in your backyard. Probably of all that I've said so far in these 7 shows has been this concept's most important of all. 20% of everything sold is done by 80% of the sales. 20% sell 80% of everything sold. And these guys know that you got to contact and contact and contact and follow through with inquiries, or you never do get the sale. And if you understand this minimum of 6 interactions is what it takes to make it work, and remember that this is a want, not a need. We trade wants different in the economy than we do things that people need. And so we're really, what people buy on is a relationship. And Tammy's going to talk to you in a minute here about how over the years I don't think anybody's been better at this than Tammy. She really does concentrate on what we call relationship marketing. It's fun for me now to see it still all over Google+. People really have bought into the idea of relationship marketing, but we've been zeroed in on that for 25 years. So where should you start? What should you try to do? And what can you kind of accomplish as we get going here? This is sponsored by the Inspiration and Encouragement Network and also Profitable Hobbies. And I'm going to continue this series every year. We'll start into the season with the 8 shows that talk about how to grow your ability to sell on the internet, yourself and your work, okay? Because it's time to rethink the whole selling process. Everything in our world is changing, and sales and function of sales is what's so damn important. You can't pay the bills if you can't make the selling function work. And all of this now is absolutely brand new. So from the first shows, it starts out as a decision. From step 1, I went into talking about why. You get to a point where you just say, you know what, I'm going to learn to do this if it kills me. And you stay on it and stay on it and stay on it, and then it begins to work out. That builds self-confidence. Without that, there is no way anything in sales works. A timid or an unconfident or an unknowledgeable person cannot sell something as complicated as our package. And our packages are expensive. They're not on the cheap end of the obligation of something as a system, but they are less expensive than most business startup concepts. And 90% of you sell from the idea of a handpiece. You basically are selling up, and I want to teach you how to sell down. Okay? Somebody has their microphone open again. Check your microphones and keep your microphones closed. Second show we did was Learn by Doing. Probably the greatest thing in life is the fact that there's nothing you can't learn. If you keep at it, you're going to figure it out eventually. And then zeroed in on show 3, we talked about selling hope. There's probably no more fun in my personal life than to see what's gradually happened in the lives of those of you that have stayed with us. You've gotten past the point of, I don't know if I can do this, to the point, I wonder if I can do this, and then, oh my hell, I really can do this. then you become a real testimony from that point on, because you've actually done it. The part that I get so frustrated with on Google Plus is the people who are basically selling hope, except they've not done anything yet. They got no background, no history, no hammer that makes it some power. What Google looks for is authority. They want to know most of all from their algorithms, have you done what you're saying you have done? The next show was all about sales is a numbers game. Anybody that's good at selling knows it's a number game. Unless you're tracking your progress and your circumstances, there's no way you can make this thing work. Show 5 was start with questions. Good salespeople know that there's appropriate range of questions that you can ask that help you basically uncover the potential of a relationship that might grow into a kit sale. And 6, we talked about the miracle. We're going out and find a miracle for each one of you. You can't think of anything that would work better for you than to have this little miracle in your own individual life. Tammy's had over $1 million in sales in the last 4 years, and you need to realize how much potential there is out there right underneath your nose. If you'll just bother to come play now with the way that we're going to try and make this thing work out, the miracle will be found in your own doing. But we got to do it and 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 do it some more, okay? 7, tonight, we're going to go on and learn to sell for each other. The circling of the wagons is what I think is the most successful part of this whole potential now. Never has there been an opportunity to connect and interact with each other, like-minded people, than there is now. It's the most amazing time in all of history. My grandfather came over with the pioneers from Denmark, came to Utah in the 1850s, and literally came to Utah in a wagon, covered wagon. And to have succeeded in that period of time, the only way in the world to get yourself from New York to Utah in those days was a combination of effort. They would put these trains of people together, these circles of people together, and they helped each other survive from where they were to where they were hoped to be. And that's what we're doing. It's a similar pioneering kind of effort, because I don't see much successful selling on Google yet. There's an awful lot of platforms, and there's an awful lot of people playing on it. There's 500 million people on Google Plus today that have an account. And when you begin to learn what we're doing is trying to mine the gold out of that much potential, we really are taking on something that's I'm excited as hell. I got my new note phone transferred today, and soon my old phone number will be on my new account. So if you see the new number, don't sweat for a day or two. It'll go back to the old number before long. And I have never played with a tool like these smartphones, and I particularly like the Note. I'm going to encourage every one of you to look at it more closely. I've got some dedicated Apple lovers out there, but to produce the stuff we need to produce and begin to play on Google Plus is going to be so much greater advantage for you with the Note phone. And as you begin to realize that what we're trying to do here is compose. It's not just react to what you see there. We're going to compose some stuff and proactively try and nudge this tool. See if we can't make it work for each of us, okay? And to begin with, we're going to work with the stuff that I'm going to compose, and then I'm going to teach you how to compose your own. And once you've got these compositions of what you then post and put up, then we're each going to become an accomplished publisher. You're going to end up on Google Plus with what's called a circle count. You'll have a rating on Google that will help you know how you're doing. And I'm purchasing the measurement tools from CircleScope so I can kind of keep an eye on it for you. It's a little pricey, and I don't want to have you guys have to spend any more money in that direction. So I'm going to watch that growth with you. And then we're going to be a supportive circle for each other. It's really fairly apparent to me that that's how you're going to make it work. Whenever you're trying to open a business and move into the marketplace and the marketplace of ideas, it requires money and time. Usually, you've all heard the statement, to make money, you got to invest money. And yet, if you don't have the balance between the time and the money, then what do? If you don't have enough money, then it's going to require more time. That's just how it always works. So what you're trying to do is keep somewhat of a balance of this kind of an investment and see if you can't load it up with time now and kind of move it in a direction where it actually will work for you. All of you listening, I'm going to challenge you tonight, and we're going to start between now and next Friday, start making this work now. And I just need a certain amount of time that you can put into this effort. If you would like to have $500 a month or $1,000 a month coming in from your participation with this team, then there's going to have to be a fair amount of time and more in the beginning than it will take later on. We talked the show Wednesday night about Keith's one step at a time concept of 2 hours a day, and it's still seems to me to be pretty reasonable, is that the amount of time you're putting in really will respond. But the trick is the steadiness of the time more than the amount of the time. And there's a lot to be said for when you post. What time of the day Google Stream comes down through your device, whether it's your phone or whether it's on your computer. You get a Google Stream every day that's new. New things that you've requested or things that you've worked with. I'm going to show you how to groom your Google Plus account so you're getting only the stuff that you're interested in, but you're getting rid of the stuff that you don't like. And if you'll gradually groom that stream every day, it will get more rich and more fun and more involved all on into the future. It's going to end up being such a huge piece of your life as you learn to participate more on a steady basis with the same kind of timing to it. It's just huge. And as we get to the point where I can put in the I&E selling circle into Google, I want everything up here to be us. I want to dominate this whole category on Google. And if we keep doing it, then we can go from three screens to everything that's up there, okay? It really is what I think we should concentrate on. And I like the idea of becoming the Wild Bunch. We're really going to just make ourselves famous, and we're not going to die in Bolivia, I promise. We have got to get each of you an iconic handle. Every one of the members of the STARS team have got to have something that you are beginning to be known for. And we can test 2 or 3 different things and kind of see which way you want it to go. But I really want you to have something like this in your own life, something that is a community that you have put together and that you are then concentrating on growing. And if it begins to be that you're publishing under this Google Plus crazy group of people and it gets some substance to it, you start motivating or interacting with on a consistent basis with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people, all of a sudden now you start to have a testimony. You start to have a degree of authenticity. And we've got to grow that for each of you. The old days here of coming on Google and playing once in a while and having 50 people follow you or 150 people following you is not enough. We really have to do more to help you have some kind of impact. I saw this quote, and when the second I saw it was Robert Schuller, I just went, yeah, of course. I think most of you remember my cross paths with Robert Schuller. My daughter Tara had just had an accident and was coming out of the hospital, and I went to the big show at the Salt Palace where he was speaking, one night, and while he was doing his final wrap-up speech, I got the idea that what I ought to do is talk to him about me being on that show circuit the next following year. And so I went home and thought about it a little bit, and then I just didn't follow through. But a year later, I went to see that same show because it came back a year later. And I was so impressed with the first year, I went the second year. Well, as I got there, the very first thing they did at the show the next year was bring Doug Snor from Salt Lake City up and said, Doug's got such an amazing story. We wanted you to hear his story this year before we started into our program. And Doug says, he says, I was sitting in this show last year back in the back of the amphitheater, and he says, the thought hit me that what I ought to do is tell these guys what my story was like, and then I could be a testimony of the average person who's gone on and done something with this successful motivation kind of concept. And it just damn near killed me because I had the same idea. He followed through on it, and I did not. And it was all around Robert Schuller and his concept at the time. It is absolutely unspectacular to begin with. It is where great achievement always starts. I promoted the card and the concept of controlling your own time for a long time in my life. It was when Woody Searles, basically at his motivation and his counseling and his mentorship, said the number one thing in life that you're after is learning to control your own time. And so I preach these concepts and these ideas that come out and land in my life, and I've used them and used them and used them to make my own life living better, and that's what I sell. That's what I preach. That's what I practice with. I typed in "You Be a Better You" into Google today, Ron, and what came out as the number one thing on "You Be a Better You" is the TED series. A little bit difficult to compete with those guys, but the next one down was yours. You get to know who you are and what you want. This started to happen to me at the end of 2012. Now, what the goal is to have, when we put in "You Be a Better You," that is going to be Ron's beginning icon. The whole concept that we've been struggling with for quite a while this year, to get something up that then begins to identify with Ron Schneeberger's name and his concepts. And then you become more attractive out there, and things start to happen that rotate in and around you. I gave this block that was laser engraved for my grandson just before he left on his mission, and I remember the morning I went out and took this photograph. This was as the sun was beginning to rise over little tiny Vernal, Utah. And I remember exactly the moment, and I remember exactly the occasion. And it does come back to you when you have something that has some impact on you and your brain. You never forget it. And that's what's so significant about what's going on in the economy of the social media. When you put up mine and put mine in there, Firestarter, look what Rod did here. Now, he posted this up on February 17th. And so when you go in and put Firestarter in my Google search bar, I come up with this from Rod. And some of you don't know to hashtag things yet. We're going to gradually do more and more of specific hashtagging of each of your individual brands. Whatever you decide to do here, we need to hashtag it when it's posted, and we'll all do that, and that much activity will then begin to drive you into a higher position on Google search engine efforts. So if Tammy is going to be the dream keeper, that's kind of what we've been talking about. I don't know if she's still settled on that or if she's going to do it for sure or not, but I'd like a 1 or 2 or a 3-word at most hashtag icon that begins to be what we follow you with, okay? And I hope you'll give it a try. I hope you'll literally say, this is really something that could grow into something important and significant. But you got to make it that way. You can't just putter with it. It is just not going to respond, okay? Unless we figure out what we're doing and we do it carefully and we do it again and do it again and do it again, it's never going to respond. Now, I've mentioned David a time or two, but I want you to look at his numbers. He has 360,000 followers. So they've gone in and tapped his box and they want to keep track of him. Anything he posts goes to these 360,000 people. But he's also had 40 flipping million views. Now, I've been mixing with David a little bit in this year, and he's getting to the point where he now knows my name. He knows who I am. Don't think he knows anything about what I'm doing, but David does the Sunday reads. Every Sunday he has this posted. And then he's got his books done, his semantic. He's the semantic search guy. This is where Google Plus is headed. And I really respect his writing. His stuff is thoughtful as hell. It's really significant. And this morning I posted a little note on his, because he'd gone out early and taken some photographs. And I introduced to him the Da Vinci concept of sfumato, the subtle differences, and I was talking to him about how contrast really does rest our brain. It's like a change is as good as a rest. And I got a comment back from him. And that back and forth mixture with someone that's this strong really starts to make an impact, because if I post something, I've only got 2,500 followers, but he has 360,000. And so as we concentrate on mixing with these people that are kind of dragging the rest of us up the mountain of success, I'm hoping, I've suggested several times, that you make absolutely certain you're one of these followers with David Amerlin. And every time David posts something and you see it, please bother to +1 it. If it's something you like that he's published, then repost it. Hit that little curved arrow and repost it and make some comment, and that will then mix it down through your stream. My stream is not the same as yours. No two people's stream is the same every day. And so then when you bother to repost something that someone has done, what you do is really amplify their visibility. You increase their exposure. But I guarantee if you do more of that, then the day will come when David Amerlin will return that favor. He will repost something that you've put up. And then's when things really start to happen. We're going to try and pull every one of you into these same kinds of numbers and these same kind of views. It just has to happen, okay? When you realize that semantic search is his whole big deal, what I'm trying to do is go in here and say, all right, if this is what shows up under his experience, then what I've got to do is keep working at it until there's my list here. And we got to do the same thing with each of you. The things that matter to you are the things that you want Google to begin to identify. But guess what? If you don't post it up there, it is never going to happen. This is very much a do-it-yourself kind of a process. You just can't not put the effort in and make the significant changes. Now, I don't know how many of you have David Peterson in, but at first I thought he was my cousin. That's when I spotted him the first time. He's a photographer in Florida. He's down there by you somewhere, Ron. And he has 2.5 million views. Now, David has, I like his photography, but when you find someone that's in your stream and it looks like it's their hobby, whether it's a profitable hobby or not, bother to follow them, okay? All you do is put your cursor right over this box here and click it, and it will bring it up, and it will allow you to put it in some circle. Now, next week's show, I'll try and show you how to build your circles. at least as best I understand them, because it's a little bit complex. But I've got 5,000 in my circles, so I'm already as full as I can be. All you can have is 5,000 people in your circles. But a lot of you don't even have 200. And it really helps your overall visibility to drive up the number of people that you're following, as well as the number of people that will begin to then follow you. Okay? So put in David Amerland. Make sure you're following David, and make sure you're following David Cannon Peterson. Now, what we're going to do is share with each other these other hobbyists. I want us, the ID gang should be the hobby circle. We should be the guys that are just talking about hobbies constantly and promoting everyone who has a hobby here. It just makes sense that we do that. And it's not hard to do, but it needs to be steady. If you do it once in a while, folks, it isn't going to amount to one hill of bean. We've got to make a really strong, consistent, and coordinated kind of effort. Okay? You just got to watch for every opportunity that comes along, and then we mix with each other with those opportunities we're finding. I don't know how many of you have been on a blab with Ron. He's been on blabs every morning at 8 o'clock. Well, 10 o'clock his time, doing the blab. And what they're doing is trying to teach you, show you, expose you to something really new. And I had a lot of fun, Ron, watching this unfold this week, because you have done so much more than most that you really are comfortable with what you're experimenting with and going after. And a lot of them who come and participated on that activity were not. But I saw a mechanism. It's different than Hangouts. It's a whole nother social platform that is beginning to take hold. But that is the future of how this is all going to work. Because if it doesn't work well and easy for people, then they don't use it. They don't come back to it. And that's been part of the struggle with Google Plus all along. Google Plus is a pretty complex interactive database. And yet, those of you that have stayed with it, yeah, look how far you've come. Look how much we've accomplished already. And there's none of them have the horsepower in the long run of Google, search, and YouTube. Those products, the new Alphabet company, alphabet.xyz. I've got a neighbor who's kind of adopted Chris and I since Joe died. And this guy's wife is just amazing. They go out and walk the neighborhood, and they're learning who our neighbors are and who lives here and who lives there, and it's just such a neat thing. And they bring us food a lot. We really love neighbors that bring us food. Lou's not the best cook in the world, so poor Chris is starved to death. But they brought us over some soup. He says, we had some soup left over, and my wife wanted me to bring it over and drop it off. So I visited for a minute with him, and then I walked out the door and out on the driveway with him, and we stood and visited for a minute. And I got a chance to say how much longer. His conversation was kind of headed to the point that I said, how much longer do you have to work? When can you retire and play a little more? And he just lit up. He says, oh, God, he says, I'm going to have to work another 10 years. He says, I'm going to be 68 before I can retire. Now, the way he said it, he was pretty determined about that's his plan. That's what he's going to do. And I don't challenge someone's plan at that point. But what I do throw back is, you know what you ought to do is start planning for a way to retire early, and then when you get to that retirement, you'll have something to do with the rest of your precious days. And he said, you know, I've been thinking about that very thing. And I says, have you got a hobby? He says, I got 3 or 4 really great hobbies, but he says, woodworking's absolutely my favorite thing. And he says, I actually had a furniture making store for a while. Now, I don't know anything more about that, but that's all I needed to hear. And so I started into the profitable hobby kind of side of things. And the second I brought up profitable hobbies, he says, you know, I've had several friends try to make their business into a hobby, but he says, I'm scared of that. He says, because that's going to ruin the hobby. It'll turn it back into work. And I said, you know, that's the thinking that most people have but it's actually backwards of what it is because I've done it. When it's something you love doing, it never feels like work. I says, it's a huge difference. I says, you really ought to explore the potential of, could you make some money? I said, when you've got a profitable hobby, you can write off your travel, your trips, your play, your tools, everything in your life. Then you let Obama pay for the productivity of your business instead of you having to do it and shoulder it all on your own. And it didn't take but a minute to lay that down with him, and it's now a new inquiry for me. So while we've been having these get-togethers, I found the kid at Costco. Remember, I talked to the Costco guy who signed us up with our Costco account, and he's worked for Costco for 17 years, and I started talking to him about a profitable hobby, and now I've got our neighbor. So I have 2 inquiries now just during this same period of time that are pretty legitimate inquiries. All I've got to do is just focus on coming back and talking to them and working on the relationship a little bit more, and I'll bet you the time will come when they're going to take a really serious look at us. Tammy, I wanted you to come in on your microphone now and talk to everybody about kind of the experience that you've had on the phone over the years, because this is now going to have to be a skill and a concept that each of you need to learn to acquire. I'm hoping she's still there. Can you hear me? Tammarie. I've not got her. I wonder.
She heard you. She turned her mic off.
Okay, you guys are still there. Tam? Maybe she can't.
Try unmuting your mic. Not on the screen, but your mic itself.
Okay, now can you hear me?
There, bingo, you made it.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I did unmute myself, but I didn't have the other one turned on. Okay, I'm sorry, Lou. I'm with you.
Okay, I want you to tell them the story of your experience with selling.
Oh, the one that we talked about earlier?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Oh, I just had the neatest call. It was so much fun. I can't turn my camera on. I don't know what's wrong.
I just need your audio right now.
Anyway, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I guess you don't need to see me. Anyway, I was doing my callbacks, and this lady told me she was pretty excited that I'd called her back. She had a little note on her desk, says Profitable Hobbies, and had the number. And I just happened to pick up the phone and call her, and she was so excited to hear from me. And let me start from the beginning. We started talking about what her interest was, what she wanted to do, about her life, where she was, and she told me that she is on disability now. Don't have that much money. She says, but I want to do this so bad. And I said, well, I have a really fun opportunity right now. I have a gentleman that can't use the tool anymore, and he asked me if I could find somebody that could. And I said, I just barely got it in. And I said, maybe let me make sure of what he wants for it, and maybe this is the way you need to go. She bought it right on the spot. And she was so excited about me getting back with her. So I think the very thing, and Lou's the one that taught me years and years ago that, and you've heard him say this, that it takes at least 6 interactions with a person to get them to really move on it. Strangely enough, Lou, she had watched your video on the little coin, and she also watched the demo video, and she's watched it several times. So when I called, yeah, that video's old. I look really young and not so bad looking, and now I'm old and gray. And so are you. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, she was so thrilled. She's watched it about 5 times. Can you imagine? She sat there and watched it 5 times. She wants to do this so bad. But the whole point of this is that being interested in her, what she wanted to do, what was making her believe that she could do something more than just be on disability, she moved on it right away, and she was so thrilled. And I think that's what it takes, is being involved with the person, making sure what they want to do, and then helping them.
It's questions. It's knowing kind of what questions should you really ask. And the leading
Yes.
question for us always, as a brand new person and a stranger, usually I ask them what they do to make a living. And it is the most revealing question, because most people really get into it. And you can tell really quickly if they're unhappy with what they're doing to make a living, or if they're really contented with what they do. And my neighbor's very, very contented with his job right now, other than he's financially stuck. It's going to take him 10 more years before he can retire. So then I know to say, well, okay, the next thing you need to do is begin to look at a way to get something going now, so by the time you retire, you've actually got something that would work for you. And then what happens is they start getting even more excited and want to be involved even sooner. Tam's really good. You have fun with people on the phone, don't you?
I sure do. I sure do. I love it. This is the best. People actually say to me, "I'm so sorry I'm taking so much of your time." But you've been really great to explain things to me. I had 2 people yesterday, 2 ladies that had been in circumstances that they had to put their equipment away. They already had the equipment, was trying to get it out and start using it again, and we had so much fun. But this is the very funnest part of my job, is doing the callbacks and talking to the people and talking to our customers and what they're doing, and having them send me pictures. And yeah, I have a really great job.
Yeah, you do. Having a good time is her job.
I do.
All right. So having a new kit, now we're going to gradually build this. We've just started, and it's a little ways off yet to have a kit and all the selling tools that will be published and over on YouTube for you to access, and gradually grow your own, effectiveness at being able to make something like this work. But I guarantee you there's 80 million boomers out there trying to figure out how to retire. It is a huge, huge potential database. And if we go after that and begin to develop it, what we're going to talk about is this startup business concept. Instead of just talking about the drill, what we're going to do is talk about what it takes to find this intersection with opportunity and turn it into something that will actually work for you. Now, I've used Doc's Hatchery forever underneath my innovative side and my my new idea side, and I'm going to culture that a little bit more too. But I've taken these concepts that I liked and I've just stayed on them. I picked up the thread of interest and put it in a position where this little slide now could be published and put up pretty damn easily and plunked into your Google Plus stream every now and again. But what we need to do is replace my picture with yours and your icon. What is it that you want to be remembered for? What is it that you most like to say and teach and share as you go through life? and begin to build these tools so that they're in your phone or on your computer and you can access them quickly and begin to publish more. Put more out there, okay? This is our drawing class. When we had our first drawing class, we had a bunch of us in there. But look who stayed with it. Lanny and Craig have stayed with it, and James has stayed with it. I'm the guy who had the beard. I don't have a beard anymore. Look at that. It's the only beard I ever grew in my whole life, and it drove me crazy. Crazier. And then, of course, Keith. But the rest of these guys all quit. And I met this lady at Walmart at Christmas time this year, and she went back into selling real estate. She was so good at her art, and she stood in Walmart and cried with me because I told her, I says, why in the world did you quit? You were so good. And she says, I never should have. I walked away from it, and I should have just stayed with it, shouldn't I? And I said, yeah, you of all people should have stayed with it. So the truth to the success of everything in life is still persistence. Ambition is the path to success, but persistence is the vehicle you arrive in. Is that absolutely the truth? If you're going to be a better you, you better put persistence into the equation, huh? Ambition alone isn't enough. This is the famous quote that I've used for 35, 40 years in my life. Jim Griffiths lettered this out for me, and I had it hanging on my wall from then on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan "Press On" has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. And that's true for each of us as well, okay? Now, the second you get an inquiry, it needs to go into your own computer and your own database so you can start tracking it and be in your inquiry list, but it had better be connected with Tamarie. We don't have a really good way right now to give you credit for the interaction on finding a brand new person and beginning to grow a relationship unless you log it in with her computer. So when you get someone that you're talking to or that you think is going to grow on in, this is a qualified inquiry. You've done enough with them that they then now have a contact information. This guy that I talked to, our neighbor, I don't have any of that yet. He's not really a full inquiry yet, so I don't have anything I can give to Tammy until I get enough of a relationship to the point I can say, listen, I got a couple of really fun things I'll send you. Give me your email. And man, the second you've got an email, now we're going to have a whole series that you can take them through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things that will gradually pull them over to where they begin to be a customer. Okay? So we really are going after this on a methodical basis. I found this on the web, and I just went nuts because this is the kind of rings. I used to engrave wedding bands. I had a period of time where this company was making a lathe platinum alloy wedding band, and they had a lot of occasions where they wanted them engraved with something, and no one else could do it because the material was too hard. So I ended up doing it, and one time this lady had me do a fish hook on her husband's wedding band, and I went, there's a whole world right here, a whole business world right just there. God, you can begin to interact with the jewelry stores in and around you, and just no end of this custom personalization kind of category. But what we're going to do is launch some fish hooks now, okay? I've published in the show, I've carried this through all the other 6 shows, the 7 steps for successful selling, but I'm going to make my own list, all right? We're going to start posting Fish Hook 1, and then we're going to get your name and your profile working better. I'm going to go after each of you and work with each of your profiles and work with your presentation and your matrix that is on Google Plus, and see if we can improve the overall function of it, because we've got to mix and mix and mix and mix and mix, okay? And you've got to find this iconic thing we're talking about. Ron's is UBU and mine is Firestarter. Tamarie's is now Dreamkeeper. You've got to move on into the marketplace of the social media with some iconic presence, because that is what people remember. There's too many names, too many things, and a digital image, a graphic image that's poignant will help people remember you better, okay? With the smartphone stats that are happening, this is exactly where the marketplace is headed. It's a shooting star, folks, and those of us that do well with it are going to be able to do well till we're dead. It is the most effective, powerful thing that I've ever bumped into in my life. Now, to start with, I want to start with Think Profitable Hobby. I did that whole first little video, graphic video that I did called Trace a Line, and I'd like you to get in a habit of once or twice a week going over to your YouTube account and open that one up, Tracing a Line, open that one up, because all the way through it is Think Profitable Hobby, and we featured several of our masters and what they're doing on that 7-minute little video. But I need you to keep nudging it. It's 490, I think now, something like that, views. But until it begins to get several thousand views, we got to make that happen. So if you'll promise me to do that, then this is going to be one of the first hot rocks, the fish hooks we're going to put out, okay? And I would love you to come up with one that's your own. Put your image here and then say your own quote here. Whatever becomes your mantra. This is the iconic thing. This is what people latch to. Their brains attached to it, and they remember it easier than if all you do is come forward with your name, okay? Then this is going to be a part of that. What I'd like to do is have you type in this part right here, but it's you. What year did you start your profitable hobby? And then I found a very unique way to grow a new hobby. I started out as an interest, but the more I did with it, the more I enjoyed doing it. Now you can modify this and say it. This is the type-in portion of a post. But I'm going to send this to you, and then I want you to follow up with putting this in the post, and then put the post in the picture. So I'm going to produce the pictures for you to begin with, and then kind of tell you what you should begin to kind of put in here, but make it personalized, make it yours, all right? And everything we do here should have somewhere where Gary Price's hands, our logo for the INE network, is on the stuff that you're producing, so that they will automatically tie us all together. It doesn't make any sense to go after this concept alone. The idea is to tie the whole stupid thing together, okay? The droids we're looking for is in search, and guess what they found? Now, I don't know if you've kind of noticed around you in the marketplace, but the new Star Wars movie is coming out, and are they ever hitting it? Walmart is just jam-packed with Star Wars stuff. And so what you're going to see is more things like this, but I'm going to get in on the act here too. I think we should play. This is like the wind that's blowing. It's already going to be a big deal, and there's a whole new generation that are going to get introduced to Star Wars. And it's my bet that the younger generation will grab onto it as much as my own kids did as well. So what we watch for is doing that stuff together, and then I think we have something that will really actually work. Now, I want you each, everybody that's listening to this show tonight, or that will see it after the fact, there's quite a bunch of you that have been participating now, so I need you to send me a private post on Google+. And I want to see if you can do this. And if you can, it'll make it a hell of a lot easier for me to connect and interact with you, okay? So what you've got to do is stop your busy freaking knife for a minute and make this effort, all right? On every phone we'll have on Google Plus, there's a little red button down here in the corner usually of your screen. And when you're looking at a post, a regular post, that little red button will be down there. When you punch that button, you click that, this will show up. And it will have on here who wants to see it, all right? Public, your circles, show launch, this is what usually comes up with mine. So what I want you to do is send me this kind of private post. Send me FishHook1 Lou. And then you've got to go in and change what's here. So all you do is tap right here. Just go right in on this and launch that, and it will show up something like this. And this is what's on my Android phone, so I don't know if Apple's exactly the same for Ron and Mel, but they both know how to do it anyway. But what you do is you go in and you open it up, touch it once, and it shows it like this, and then all you do is hit that little X, and it will take out the public. Then you take out your circles, and then you take out your show launch. Anything that's here, you want to delete that. Then you go up and hit this right here. Hit the search button and type in my name, Dr. Lou. Okay? Now, if you'll do that, then it will put my name in here, and then you go hit this little check mark right here, and it will show that same original screen right here. Type in, send me FishHook1, and then punch it right there, and it will land in my life, and I will have you connected. So I want to see if you can do it. I want to see, first of all, how many of you are actually going to participate and want to do this and participate with me and try and develop your own oil well in your backyard. You guys have no idea how solid, productive this has been. We have had millions in sales, guys. We've got an already sales format, a sales platform for profitable hobbies that is just strong as hell. And I want you to use mine and use Tammy's to begin with until you get your own going. I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense to lean on our years and our efforts and our productivity to begin with, and then let's see if we can't make it work in your own life. So each of you send me a private text, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and do tonight, I want to bring up, where did I have it? Right here. No, it's not there. Where in the world was it? Let's see here if I can find it. I had it already brought up, but I don't know what in the world happened to it. Oh, there it is right there.
Mark 10. Who was of so little faith that in a moment of great disaster or heartbreak has not called to his God? Who has not cried out when confronted with danger, death, or mystery beyond his normal experience or comprehension? From where has this deep instinct come which escapes from the mouth of all living creatures in moments of peril? Move your hand in haste before another's eyes, and his eyelids will blink. Tap another on his knee, and his leg will jump. Confront another with dark horror, and his mouth will say, "My God," from the same deep impulse. My life need not be filled with religion in order for me to recognize this greatest mystery of nature. All creatures that walk the earth, including man, possess the instinct to cry for help. Why do we possess this instinct, this gift? Are not our cries a form of prayer? Is it not incomprehensible in a world governed by nature's laws to give a lamb, or a mule, or a bird, or a man the instinct to cry out for help, lest some great mind has also provided that the cry should be heard by some superior power, having the ability to hear and to answer our cry. Henceforth I will pray, but my cries for help will only be cries for guidance. Never will I pray for the material things of the world. I am not calling to a servant to bring me food. I am not ordering an innkeeper to provide me with room. Never will I seek delivery of gold, love, good health, petty victories, fame, success, or happiness. Only for guidance will I pray, that I may be shown the way to acquire these things, and my prayer will always be answered. The guidance I seek may come, or the guidance I seek may not come. But are not both of these an answer? If a child seeks bread from his father, and it is not forthcoming, has not the father answered? I will pray for guidance, and I will pray as a salesman in this manner. O Creator of all things, help me. For this day I go out into the world naked and alone, and without your hand to guide me. I will wander far from the path which leads to success and happiness. I ask not for gold or garments or even opportunities equal to my abilities. Instead, guide me so that I may acquire ability equal to my opportunities. You have taught the lion and the eagle how to hunt and prosper with teeth and claws. Teach me how to hunt with words and prosper with love, so that I may be a lion among men and an eagle in the marketplace. Help me to remain humble through obstacles and failures, that hide not from mine eyes the prize that will come with victory. Assign me tasks for which others have failed, that guide me to pluck the seeds of success from their failures. Confront me with fears that will temper my spirit, yet endow me with courage to laugh at my misgivings. Spare me sufficient days to reach my goal, yet help me to live this day as though it be my last. Guide me in my words, that they may bear fruit, yet silence me from gossip, that none be maligned. Discipline me in the habit of trying and trying again, yet show me the way to make use of the law of average. Favor me with alertness to recognize opportunities, yet endow me with patience which will concentrate my strength. Bathe me in good habits, that the bad ones may drown, yet grant me compassion for weaknesses in others. Suffer me to know that all things shall pass, yet help me to count my blessings of today. Expose me to hate, so it not be a stranger, yet fill my cup with love, to turn strangers into friends. But all these things be only if thy will. I am a small and a lonely grape, clutching the vine, yet thou hast made me different from all others. Verily, there must be a special place for me. Guide me, help me, show me the way. Let me become all you planned for me when my seed was planted and selected by you to sprout in the vineyard of the world. Help this humble salesman. Guide me, God.
This has been a presentation of the Body Health Soul Pro.
Back off that speaker just a little bit now and see if we can't get it back. Okay, anybody got a comment they want to make and kind of wrap up tonight a little bit and get started? Any questions about the private post on Google Plus? Everyone think you got an idea of how to do that?
I didn't quite say where did you start with it? I thought you were going to take it on the regular old posts and just only send it to you, but I didn't see the initial spot you started. Where was it you initially started?
Well, I do it on my phone. On my phone, when you pull up Google Plus and you start going through your stream, there will be a little red button that will show up down in the right-hand corner, and that's where you launch your own new post. So you just want to launch a post, just like
so
you
it's
know.
launching a post.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
And then just make it sure that you take everything out of the where you're sending it to, delete all of that, and then just put in Dr. Lou Jensen. It will send it just to me. Okay, let's see if you can all do that. You can pull that off, then I'll turn around and send you the picture and the comment part you put in the top of the post, and then picture that. And I want to see if you can all do that. So we're kind of practicing here a little bit, and I'll be watching. I'll be watching to see if you can do it. Now, like all of us, when you see this to come up in this stream the next few days, when you see it come up from somebody in our circle, make sure you +1 it. Don't not do that for everyone, even though it's the exact same post. Let's all lean into it together and see what we can pull off, okay? Google watches this similarity. When they see things of sequence and it starts showing up, then that's what they pay attention to. When I launched my new phone last night, there's a magazine that they publish on Samsung that will bring into my life all the things I'm interested in. And they had a huge long list that you had to go through and say, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in this, and this, and this, or not this, not this. And I thought, that's how this whole thing functions. When it begins to read what you like most. And that's what then begins to be your stream. And I'm thinking, there's just no more powerful thing out there that if you're a woodworker, I guarantee you're going to start attracting other woodworkers. Lance, with your community, how many of you got in your gun community thing now?
You know what? I don't know the exact number, but in the one I have going, let's see. I'll look and only take a second to look.
Okay, go find it.
Yeah, that's all right. And communities. Let's see. Loading up communities. It's lower than I'd like. 276 members in Gunstock Carving.
Yeah, 276. Now, that's when Lance posts something in that box, they are targeted to those 276 people. Doesn't mean they'll always see it, but the odds go way up that they will. And the more you post consistently and they get to a habit pattern, watch what David Amerlin's doing. His Sunday read is just deadly. I mean, he's done it every Sunday for a year. And that kind of thing, what you're watching for is, what could I do that's like that? What could I put up that would get that same kind of a general mix on the stream, but it's my contribution. It's this thing I like. We're all pretty used to finding a quote or a post or a picture or something, and we just throw it up and get a little bit of activity that way. But what I want is this iconic thing to grow for each of you. When we put in your name, Lance, and your icon into the regular Google search, we want you to show up on that first page. Mm-hmm. And we're going to all see that happens. If we all do it and all mark it and all +1 it and repost it with you, then it'll start to dominate over on the regular Google search. And can you see how powerful that'll become? That will just be a hammer and a half in a year or two. And we've got to do it. We've just got to do it. If you're going to have any significance and any influence on this social media stuff. Now, the next thing we'll start into this fall is, if we can make it work on that, then we can make it work on Instagram. Then we'll make it work on Facebook. Then we'll see if we can't use Hootsuite so we can publish to all of them at one time. We'll learn each of these mixtures, because you can't ignore any of the social medias. We're just making Google+. We're going to own Google+, and then we'll move on into the other social circles. And to me, it's the most exciting thing in the world. What I watched Ron do with Blab this week was he opened up? He's found this group. Can you come on and tell everybody a little bit more about it, Ron, and what you're finding and how come you're attracted to it?
You mean as far as the group that I'm in?
Yeah, well, Blab itself and the group you're in.
Blab itself is I'm getting an echo. You echo?
Oh, yeah, I've got my...
You got two windows open or tabs open, I think.
I got my microphone. Okay, there you go.
Blab is a live streaming platform, a little different than Periscope or Meerkat in the aspect that, and it's different in Hangouts in several aspects. It's not going to replace Hangouts because there's no private part to it at all. But what you can do is you can live stream from your phone. I don't recommend doing it unless you have Wi-Fi because it uses data faster than you can get it up from your service provider, and you don't want to run up a $400 phone bill because you streamed for a little bit of time. But you do it on Wi-Fi, and you can. It's simple to get on. You need a Twitter account, and then you sign in through Twitter, and you can sit in and watch these blabs. There's some on selling, there's some on real estate, there's some on social media, and then there's a lot of garbage on, like everything else.
You're getting ready to have your own, Ron. Have you got a theme of what you're going to produce yours with yet?
Yeah, one of them that I'm going to do is it's going to be titled "You Be a Better You."
Good.
And I'm going to interview people and talk to them about things that happened in their life that made them a better you, a better them.
Person. Yeah.
So when I do my own, but right now I'm sitting in on others, and I found this group called the Circadians, and we are doing just the basics on Blab, showing people how to get started, and what you need to do, and what the different parts of the screen are, and then we lead them to if they want to do advanced things, we tell them who to contact and who to follow so that they can, if they want to do some advanced things. So, but we just go over the basics. It's the same every day. They can print out a 17-page PDF file if they want, and it has what we go over every day, what I go over and what I read from. Now next week somebody else will be doing it, but I might be in one of the squares helping out. But this week I did it, and it's interesting. There's different ways you can use it, and I see it as a compliment to doing Google Hangouts. It's like there's 4 squares and you can have 4 people in at a time, and you can also eliminate people if somebody's causing a problem. But it's like sitting around a coffee table or a poker table and talking back and forth, and you put in a topic that you want. You can start it right away, or you can schedule it for another time and then start it when the time comes. And then afterwards, they send you an email so that you can replay the blab and watch it and see all the comments and questions, and you can respond to the people.
It is recorded.
Well, you have to hit the button to record it. It doesn't do it automatically.
Where does it land after you recorded it? Where does it go? Do you know?
It goes on their site, but what you will get an email from them afterwards, and there's 2 things you can download. You can download just the audio file if you're doing a podcast, or you can download it to YouTube.
Oh, it's separated. Oh, really?
So you can download it to YouTube. Now, through Blab, you cannot do any changes on the video. But once it's on YouTube, once you download it to YouTube, you can go into YouTube, and with the editor in YouTube, you can edit it. You can put meta tags in. You can put a description in, just like you would on a regular YouTube video. But it has to go in there first. Then you can do what you want.
So it's a way to create focused YouTube published things. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's neat. Ron, how much has this changed your world in the last 2 years? You're really into
You know, I worked hard at it, Lou, and I put time in it. You know, that 2 hours a day applies to everything, and I'd say I probably put more than 2 hours a day in this because you kind of pushed me in a direction, and because of my health problems, I had to do something to get recognized, and now I'm getting to the point where I'm going to use it to start getting work. And but I got the recognition and the branding, and I got, you know, the people who were big on Google Hangouts that are over on Blab. They know me. They follow me like I used to follow them. I can get on their Blab and they'll let me in, and I'll talk for a few minutes, you know, and chat with them, and then, you know, it's common sense. Got to be a little courteous and don't hog it all, and you just go in there and chat with them, and they, hey, what are you doing, Ron? What's going on? You know, and they know I do engraving now and stuff, and they, you know, they promote me, and just like I promote them if they come on the show. Like Chef Dennis Litley came on today, and I was chatting with him, but it's an interesting format. But people that I didn't think know me pretty well.
That's another one we want to make sure if you go follow Dennis Litley, don't not tie in with his account. He's huge. He has tremendous following as well. So when you start putting yourself into their helping them, then they can then in turn really, really help you. That pulls your exposure way up from where you have been. So.
Yeah, and any of these people that you might have seen, you know, Candy Sakai from Japan, Mia Voss from out in Colorado, you know, Brian Fanzo, he has a social media site.
Dennis LaBelle.
Well, Dennis isn't on Blab.
Not yet.
But you know, there's a bunch of people who are on, and it's interesting. Like I said, you got to watch it because it can be a time hog. You know, you gotta get on there and you got to say, okay, I want to watch this, and I'm done in 30 minutes. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's how most visiting tends to go. It feels like a visiting format, very casual, very comfortable, very easy to watch, and very easy to participate with, it sounds like. So I suspect each of us will have areas that we dominate or that we like, that we'll use the most. But I've just got to have most of you doing more on Google+. You're just soft enough that you're not even showing up. And if you'll do a little bit more of this consistent effort, publish the same time every day. Don't just hit it whenever you think about it. Set yourself.
I'll tell you what.
Very consistent time. Go ahead, Ron.
What happened today that was kind of funny? Out of the blue, I got a text message from a woman who had a hangout that she was doing today, and she said, Ron, she said, I got your name from Roland Takaoka, and he recommended you. She said, I need somebody to help me on the show today. She was doing a hangout to follow the comment tracker and help me answer the questions and give them to me and put them up on the screen. I said, Lynn, I'd love to do it, but I said, I'm too busy right now. I can't do it. She says, she said, you are my first choice. She said, I got another choice I'm going to have to use, but she said, Roland thought highly of you and recommended that I call you. And it's like, this stuff is, you know, it just shows that you do get recognized for what you do, and people do respect you, and you know, you get recommended, and people promote you. So,
well, to me, it's like when Grandpa came here. Tammy's grandfather came to Utah in the same period of time, and he settled Panguitch, and my grandfather settled Manti. And we've laughed about it over the years because there's no way they didn't know each other. They were here at the exact same time when there was nothing here, folks. There's sagebrush and a few deer running around was it. And they were pioneers in every respect. But I look at what's going on here, and we're pioneers beyond reason with a whole new way to help the world. We really are. We're an unusual generation, first of all. We're the old codgers. We're not the young kids that do it and adapt to it pretty easily. But I showed Tammy a post this a little bit ago that was the #1 business startup category in the world now is boomers. And it's because they have got to find a way to help themselves with extra income. In most cases, the income you need is fixed when you retire, and then you've just got to figure out how to hustle on your own and make some extra income in the best possible way is a profitable hobby. There's just nothing like it. I had a dream I want to end with this. I had a dream last night, and it woke me up right in the middle of the freaking night. And I've got a beautiful piece of crystal that I ordered in for another project for BYU, and that fell through. Nothing happened. So I got this really gorgeous chunk. It's heavy. It's thick, big, thick, and long. I think I've showed it to you guys. It's got a circle of the earth right in the center of it. And we just had lunch last week with this new president of the university, and he's fairly young, but it's a good-sized school. They got 40,000 students now. And so what I'm going to do is take that, and I saw exactly what to put on that piece of crystal. And it was a thank you from Jack Solomon to him. And one of Jack's favorite tricks is when people come and see his huge collection. He's got $12 million worth of engraved crystal. And everybody's always impressed. It's one of the most elegant sights in the whole flipping world. And I'm trying to get the university together with Jack's collection. That Mark Bingham will build the building, and Jack's collection will end up in that building. And I'm thinking, oh, that might be a fit. That might actually work. But I saw to Matt Holland this piece of crystal that would be done for Jack, and with Jack's name on it. Then I'm going to go deliver it. Jack's not, he doesn't even know that this is even going to happen. But I'm going to tell Holland that this is a gift from Jacob. Now that, I've used that tactic, that second-handed compliment, many, many times in my life. I do something for them that doesn't cost a dime for Jack, but it ends up doing something wonderful for the business side of what it is that I do. And the odds are so high that that university president's going to now start using me to have me do things for him as well. And thank you, business. And I just went, damn, boy, there's another one. That's another relationship that I've got to try and figure out how to pull into my life. And Tammy, guess who's his father-in-law? His uncle to his father-in-law is Merrill Bateman, who I used to do so much for already. When I found that out at lunch last week, I just went, oh, this one's coming like the parting of the Red Sea. This is another one that's going to end up being a really fun project. And I can bang it out. I've got the blaster set up. I got things that I can do. Just go and make pattern, put it on, and deliver it. So I'll kind of let you know that's going on the docket this weekend, and I'm going to get it ready for next week. And as we share this stuff that we're doing, it's significant that you guys are each putting your posts up. When Michael posts up his clock, and when Nick puts up his work, and what Brian Beatty just did this last little while, and what he's doing at the State Fair right now, all of that stuff gradually grows your relationship individually. But don't not put the I&E network mixture into that somehow. That, to me, is what gets us combined. We'll do better than we will do individually. I'm convinced of that. So, any other comment before we wrap things up tonight, gang? Thank you for taking your time. Don't not send me a private post now so I know whether I've got you aboard or not, okay? This is something I don't think you want to miss out on.
Hopefully it worked. I already sent mine.
Okay, I got them then.
Too.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, guys.
Me
Appreciate your participation. We'll see you next week for the final show, okay?
Yep.
Good night. Still recording live.